While most people do love living in Charleston, some people actually hate it. So in this video, I asked my videographer, Andre, who's behind the camera, to go on niche.com and go through the 700 some reviews of people who live in Charleston. And he's pulled some of the best from 1 star to 5 star. I have not read these. He's gonna hand them over to me and we're going to dissect them and see exactly how accurate they are. All right. Good Lord. If I could give this city 0 stars, 0 is in all caps, I would. There's only one word that comes to mind when I think of Charleston and the surrounding areas as a whole: destroyed. Thank you, town council, politicians, investors, corporations, etc. The once friendly Charleston that I grew up in has been destroyed by big money and big pockets. Not to mention, there's barely any infrastructure to, oh, this is a long one, to hold the thousands of people who flock here daily. Where the hell they are living beats me. Pretty soon we will be all living on top of each other. Worst transportation system ever, plus the worst drivers to boot. Add to that the constant construction because of out of control development. A word for the wise: stay away from Charleston. You'll be sadly disappointed. It's not the small, quaint, friendly city that it used to be. Times have changed, unfortunately. Farewell, Charleston. Your history. I like that. Your history. It's kind of a pun in there a little bit. Okay, 0 stars. That's pretty extreme there. Yes, it's not what it used to be, but newsflash, most places aren't. There is one thing they said: barely any infrastructure to hold the thousands of people who flock here daily. I think the last number I saw was like 50 to 56 people a day move to Charleston. That doesn't include the people that leave. It's not 1,000, so I think you're just a little on your high horse here. You're right, it's not a small, quaint city anymore. It used to be, but you know, we live where people vacation, so it's growing. It says from a former resident, so thanks. All right, next card. All right. Oh, that last one, I don't think I said it was 1 star. I think we could have figured that out. Oh, another 1 star. We're starting off. We are just going for it. Overcrowded, boring, low-paying jobs, and high rent. The traffic is terrible. You'll wait for 40 minutes just to get down the street. The crime is awful. It's scary going to stores and being out. No nightlife besides downtown, which is a lot of college kids that don't know how to act. Flooding is everywhere. Car insurance is outrageous. It's just so much more bad than good. We pay high prices for rent, and the landlords are greedy and don't fix anything. We have no attractions, nothing fun at all. These are 2 that have mentioned traffic. I'm guessing this is going to be a common theme, so we might just address the traffic stuff at the end instead of saying it every single time. Personally, scary going to stores and being out. I've never felt scared going to a store. No nightlife besides downtown. I think this is a lot of places that you visit. Like in the suburbs, you're not going to have as much nightlife as you are in a downtown. And there is a college downtown. So yes, you're going to get college kids, but you also get a mix of the tourism side of it as well as locals that are going out to these bars and restaurants every night that create that nightlife. And no attractions, nothing fun at all.
Nothing fun at all.
We have 3 public beaches. We have countless water, parks. There's always something to do here in Charleston. We have museums, the aquarium. Yeah, if you're looking for Myrtle Beach type attractions, you're not going to find those here. But to say we have no attractions and nothing fun at all is a bit of an exaggeration. All right. 3 stars. We're getting better. 3 stars is what I look at on Amazon when I go to buy something, because they like it and they hate it. I think they're the most honest. So let's see what this has to say. As much as I don't want to say it, Charleston is no longer a desirable place to live. I'm not really starting off as 3 stars. I read a review stating that Charleston is, quote, such a hidden gem. This must have been written by the tourism office because not being hidden is the problem. The traffic, the flooding, The continued building of hotels has made Charleston undesirable as a place to live. The quality of life has plummeted. It's a fun place to spend a weekend, but living here is tough. I really enjoy South Carolina, friendly people and its natural beauty, so I'm interviewing for jobs in Columbia and Greenville. Charleston, it's been a great 10 years, especially the earlier years, but it's time to enjoy life again. I wouldn't really call it a hidden gem. I don't know where they saw that, maybe 30 years ago, but we're here. We've been the #1 city to visit by numerous publications over the past 10 to 15 years. So it's not really hidden. I visited here and I ended up leaving. A lot of people do. 3 stars, current resident. Best of luck in finding a job in Columbia and Greenville. Okay. 4 stars. Oh, we are getting better. That's a long one. If you can afford to live there, downtown Charleston is easily a top 20 place to live in the United States. The weather is warm year-round. The cost of living, other than housing, is below larger East Coast cities, and the peninsula is a great mix of walkable urbanism and quiet residential neighborhoods. On the other hand, here we go, housing is very expensive. Livable homes downtown start at around $500,000. If that's not possible, moving out to the Barrier Islands or West Ashley means dealing with the snarled traffic moving in and out of the city with virtually no public transportation. Yes, I tell people this all the time, that our cost of living is just above the national average. Our housing prices do offset that and make it seem a little bit higher, but overall cost of living is not much higher than most larger cities, especially here on the East Coast, and it's much cheaper than large cities on the West Coast. Never seen the city boxing gym, but that's pretty cool. Livable homes downtown starting at around $500,000. They've got to be talking about small condos, because finding a home around $500,000 on the Charleston Peninsula it's going to need a lot of work. It's probably going to need another couple $100,000 worth of work. I would say if you want a livable home downtown at a decent size, you're probably going to be looking between $600 to $800, and that's going to be in the northern side of the peninsula. And virtually no public transportation. I've never had to take public transportation, but from what I've heard, and people have told me, that our public transportation system here in Charleston is not the greatest. So here you go, 4-star review. All right, 5 stars. Someone loves it. Better have nothing negative to say. While I was not born in Charleston, I was brought to this city when I was 5 years old. I love Charleston's history, its beauty, its energy, but there are a lot of cracks that need to be filled to make the city truly excellent. The city's revival was founded on the hospitality industry, and for many, that's all they have. Beyond MUSC, the tech corridor, and law, many people struggle to find jobs that can sustain a cost of living in the city. As I write this now, $600,000 is considered low income, 80% of the median income in the city. This review is from actually 27 days ago. The people needed to sustain the hospitality industry cannot afford to live in the city they take care of. The city is lovely. I wouldn't trade it for anything else, but it needs help and people who are willing to help it. I love this. So it kind of covers everything. Yes, again, it is an expensive city to live in when you look at especially in South Carolina. It is one of the most expensive cities in South Carolina. And yes, we see a lot of people moving to the Somerville, Goose Creek area because it is more affordable to live up there. And yes, you have the gas, depending on when you work. If you're working in the hospitality industry, you're not dealing with the rush hour traffic. You're there before and after rush hour traffic. Then you're looking at about 30 minutes to get downtown, which in a larger city is a really short commute. Okay, 60K is considered low income. I'd have to look up those stats, but it kind of sounds correct. And from someone who came from the hospitality industry, it can be tough in this city, but there are ways to do it. You don't have to live downtown, and you can have a better quality of life in these other areas. So 27 days ago, 5 stars. Thank you. All right. This is a short one. 2 sentences, 2 stars. My landlord is absolutely terrible. Went without a washer and dryer for a month. That's it. That's all it says. Why would you give me this one? Okay, I've got nothing. All right, next one. It's coming off of a bad landlord. 3 stars. Nice area, but everything is overpriced. Gentrification is rampant and there is hardly anything to do without breaking the bank or getting posted about on the Facebooks. If everything you're doing is getting posted on the Facebooks, I don't think that's a city problem. I think that's a friend problem. Hardly anything to do without breaking the bank. Yes, downtown is touristy, it is expensive, but there are also some great free things to do. Like, even if you live here, I don't think people do this enough, is just go downtown and explore and check out the history that this city has. When I first moved here, I actually didn't have a job, and I spent my days just wandering the random alleys of downtown Charleston and just exploring the history. And it was the most calming, relaxing, amazing time I ever had. It was great. Everything is overpriced. We've talked about that. Hardly anything. Yeah, get out of here. All right, I hope this one's spelled better. 1 star. This is becoming a difficult town to make it in, especially for younger or less established people. The divide between people living in purchased homes from before the housing market got so inaccessible and renters is stark. Local wages haven't kept up with the cost of living. So if you aren't exceptionally wealthy, you have the taxes, cost of living, noise, traffic, parking, and tourists of living near the city without being able to afford or enjoy what the city has to offer. I would say the divide is more of like the old guard, as we call it, and then the younger Charleston. Yes, the housing market went absolutely insane. It was not sustainable. There are a lot of people that are in houses with incredibly low interest rates, but what people did not see is how much over the appraisal they had to pay for those and how much out of pocket they had to come out. Some people were paying $50,000 out of pocket just to get that house, and now that house has some issues. Don't take that all with a little grain of salt there. And purchasing a home isn't for everyone. It is a lot harder now, but it is possible. Again, being within the city, for most people, that is where it is inaccessible. But if you wanted to find a nice little townhome or condo, you can be very close on James Island or West Ashley, or you can get a great house up in Somerville. So I think this is a good plug that if you are looking to make a move in the next 3 days to 3 years, I'm also a realtor and I can help you.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Let's see where we are. Oh, we're back to 1 stars. These are kind of my favorites. Living in Charleston is absurd. I grew up in Northern California and have lived many places. Bragging. Charleston is by far the worst traffic I've ever experienced in my 34 years of life. Yes, beautiful, semi-clean, without the southern hospitality one would hope for. It regularly takes me over an hour or more to go to and from the gym I use. It is 7 miles from my drive. Are you kidding me? Again, like I said, I've driven all the way across the country 7 times in total. You didn't say that. I recently spent 7 months in Belize and drove across 2 countries to get there. Nowhere in my travels has been as bad as Charleston. That's a lot. I have never taken an hour to drive 7 miles in Charleston. That's like Atlanta, not Charleston. Find a new gym, I guess. Congrats on growing up in California and driving across the country 7 times in your 34 long years of life. And Belize. Okay. It's not going to take you an hour to drive 7 miles. All right. Whew. 3 stars. Charleston is mainly like touring and a retirement place for individuals, but in general is a mysterious town. Anything can happen. What? Okay, tourism. A lot of people have mentioned tourism. I I might have to do a full video on this. I'm going to talk about the positives of living in a tourist city and some of the negatives in a completely different video. So stay tuned for that one. So one of the great things about living in Charleston is it attracts all walks of life. We have seen a lot of people move down here for retirement from up north because they didn't want to go to Florida. But then we also see younger people coming here for college or just all walks of life. And it's a mysterious town. Anything can happen. I don't live that type of life, but if you do, then yeah, 3 stars, mystery. Back to 1 star. Former resident. So this person, they wrote this review and bolted.
She doesn't even go here.
If you're in college, this could be a fun town. If you can dodge bullets flying through the air. After college, you find yourself in a theater environment. People that live in downtown think that they are all that, and they are boring, having done nothing exciting. Anyone over 30 will be bored to tears here. The restaurants are lousy, all but 1 or 2. Flooding is usual, and houses are mostly eroding. Rentals are out of reach for a single person, and cost of living very, very high. I found no quality of life in Charleston, and the people as Disneyland-like characters. Very unsophisticated. It's a lot to unpack. I've never dodged bullets. I am well over 30, and I am not bored to tears. If you're over 30, you can have fun in Charleston. Don't let this former resident 1-star review tell you otherwise. There's plenty of things to do. You can go to the beach, you can buy a boat, you can find a friend with a boat, that's cheaper. You can walk around downtown, you can go to any of the festivals or the museums. There's plenty to do here. And the Disneyland-like characters. I think that is like one of those things that every city has their like Disneyland cast of characters. Charleston's just a much smaller town, so I think they're just more compact in downtown. And lousy restaurants. We have many James Beard finalists and winners, and being a tourist town, we have some amazing restaurants. I would say they're all really good, except for about 1 or 2. Back to a 3-star. After living in Charleston for 4 years, I moved to Columbia, South Carolina. People are writing novels. My life now seems normal. I confused loving a place to visit with loving a place to live when I made my decision to move to Charleston. I eventually realized that I like the idea of living in Charleston more than the reality. I now enjoy my day-to-day life, and when I miss Charleston, I make the 2-hour drive for a long weekend. And if you have $10 million plus to drop on a beach house in Sullivan's Island or Isle of Palms, having Charleston close by could be ideal. Well, I'm glad you tried it. So I was someone who visited Charleston before moving here. It is very different when you live in a place versus you visit it. That's just the reality of it. When you're visiting, you're like go, 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 go. You're just at the beach. You're doing all the things in a short amount of time. But I always tell my clients, like, come and spend a week in the area that you want to live and just immerse yourself in that area to see if it's the right decision to move there. Like this former resident of the 3 stars, she said they visited, they loved it, and they moved here. Like, I've had people do that and then move away because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So just do a little more research. Again, influx of tourists in the summer. Video coming soon. Yeah, if you have over $10 million to drop on a beach house, like definitely move to Sullivan's Island or Isle of Palms. But not everyone has $10 million, but those beaches are public. So you can just, being near Charleston and being close to the beaches is also ideal for most people. Columbia is a great city. It's not cheaper. You're only 2 hours away, but yeah, just do your research and see if it's actually where you want to live.
Last one.
Oh, last guy. This better be good. I like David Letterman.
Yeah, Gary will be around to pick up a check next week, too.
That aged me. 1 star. All right. I don't know if you can hear Andre laughing. Charleston is disappointingly pedestrian. Behind its thin, quote, history, artsy, foodie veneer lies a small city with little food diversity, only one or two really worthwhile restaurants. I think this person's related to the last one. A museum with no works of note, and streets full, really full, of drunk college kids replaying spring break every day. It's too expensive for most of the residents who work in the restaurants, and the turnover of its inhabitants is alarmingly high. Visitors love it, thanks to a very active tourism board, and crowds continue to stress Charleston's already brittle infrastructure. People who tell you they love it have likely either 1. Never lived in a real city or place, just fake places, or were 2. Born in the area and drunk on the Charleston Kool-Aid. It gets old fast. I'm giving this review 4 stars, just for that pun intended. History, artsy, foodie veneer. There's a lot of history in Charleston. It is not a veneer. There's a lot of art. It might not be your Picassos that you're looking for, but the art we have here is very. We have a lot of very southern art. We don't have the Louvre, we don't have the Met and all of that, but we're a very smaller city. We do have an amazing art scene. There are art walks at least once a month downtown that are phenomenal, where all of the local artist studios open their doors and people just wander around downtown and check out the local artists. Like, you don't have to go to the museums to see amazing art here in Charleston. Like, there are these art walks. 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10 suggest those. And the turnover of its inhabitants is alarmingly high. I'm not really sure about that. I've seen more people coming in than leaving. That's not really a turnover. And people who've never really lived in a real city. I don't know what you consider a real city. Maybe you're trying to compare us to like the New Yorks and the Chicagos and the Miamis, which we are not. So you can't really compare those. And yeah, people are drunk on the Kool-Aid. Maybe that's why there's drunk people all over the place. Don't compare us to big cities, because I feel like that's what this review is doing. When you move to Charleston, you're getting a smaller city. You know, people are gonna probably argue about that, but we are a small to medium-sized city. We don't have high rises. We don't have these huge museums and attractions that all of these other East Coast cities have. We have history, and we have our local art, we have our local people. And that's what makes Charleston so great. And we do have some amazing restaurants. Now, before we end, I told you I'd talk about traffic, because I talk about this a lot, because it comes up a lot. Traffic is bad, but it's not as bad as the people in these reviews make it out to be. It can get a little congested, but if you plan, if you're coming in rush hour, anywhere in rush hour, you're gonna hit traffic, but you're not taking an hour to go 7 miles like that one reviewer said to get to their gym. So thanks, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you agree or disagree with any of these, let me know down in the comments. And again, if you're looking to make a move in the next 3 days to 3 years, I'd love to be your realtor of choice. And go ahead and check out this video. And as soon as I get that tourism video up, I will put that down below as well. Have a great one.